my fellow veterans and loyal listeners of the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. Today, we stand united not just as veterans, but as a vibrant community dedicated to sharing our experiences, insights, and journeys. Over the past year and a half, we've brought together an incredible array of guests, each of whom has contributed unique stories that resonate with the challenges and triumphs we faces service members and civilians alike. Together, we have explored vital topics such as mental health, career transitions, and the importance of camaraderie, all while striving to create an online space where every story is shared and heard. Feedback and engagement has been instrumental in helping us expand our reach, and we're deeply grateful for the connections we've forged. As we look to the future, we'll be excited to announce the new projects and partnerships that will further enrich our content, provide resources for veterans and their families. We encourage every listener to continue to share their stories and experience, as they are the heartbeat of our podcast. Together, let us keep the spirit of service alive, support one another in our journeys, and inspire future generations of veterans. Thank you for being part of the Triple Threat Vet Podcast family, and here's to many years of impactful conversation and shared growth.
Breaker 19 for radio check.
What's going on, everybody? What do you think about the State of the Union? Sorry, let me say that, grab it down. You're here. It's Tuesday, 7 p.m. This is Ty. You're with the Triple Threat Vet Podcast. You're now rocking with the best. Let's see what is going on with Matt Johnson.
Not much, man. I've been all over the place, it feels like, in the last week. Just finished with the rodeo. Now just got back from Louisiana. Just excited to be on here tonight and just kick it with you guys for an hour or two, or who knows, could go longer. But I'm just happy to be here. Welcome in, everybody. We're glad you're here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for just getting your ass up and getting online. Now go tell all your friends. Tell them to jump on. This one's going to be good. Now to the hero.
Hello, everyone. So I want to touch on a topic tonight that's really, I talked to Ty about it because I really want to throw nuclear bombs and go fuck some people up. So I happened to be at a restaurant the last couple of days ago with my family, and there was two young active duty service members. And I'm assuming by the way they were talking and their goofy dependent wives and their fucking goofy ass children, they were officers. That's the only way I can describe them. They had to be officers, probably naval pilots, because they're arrogant pricks when they're young and they don't know no better. But these young gentlemen were talking about a topic that us veterans hold dear, right? There was an older gentleman who came in the restaurant and was wearing his Vietnam veteran hat. Well, then they proceeded to have a conversation amongst themselves. They weren't talking out loud, or they weren't being, too stupid, but they made comments like, we should let it go. He should let that go. He's not in the service anymore. He's just trying to get attention. And my blood fucking was boiling to the point where I started talking louder with my family, like, these pussies and, these fucking dick riding ass officers and pilots. And I was just being myself. And finally my wife was like, you need to calm down, right? Just chill out. Well, it really made me think, and I thought about it the whole ride home. And I hope you're listening, you two young fucks. I hope you're listening with your wives are mid at best, just so you know. Like, y'all could have done better overseas, but whatever. Veterans wear those hats for a couple of reasons, in my opinion, right? They wear it because it's a badge of honor. Like, they earn the right to wear a Vietnam veteran hat, or any veteran hat for that matter, when they served in combat and they supported something bigger than themselves. But that hat also identifies them to other veterans, because if I enter a room with 100 people in it, the first person I'm looking for is that veteran in that room, because I know that I'm going to immediately connect with that person. We're immediately going to have a connection. I know I got a friend for the night, probably a buddy for life, but I'm gonna be much more comfortable knowing that there's somebody in that room who's been through some shit and has my back. So for you young active duty service members who think that veterans need to let it go, you're going to be where we're at one day. I promise you that. And it's extremely hard to let go of something you spent majority of your life in the service and defense of your country, and to be proud to get up every day and put on the cloth of that nation. So for those two young, and they had to be pilots, they had to be cake eaters. For you two young motherfuckers, I want you to remember that one day you're going to be that salty, probably not, because you're probably going to do your 4 years and get out because some shit's going to pop off. You're probably going to be terrified and be like, I signed up to get college money and to be cool and wear aviators. But at the end of the day, that veteran hat means something. But that veteran hat means more because of the person who's wearing it. Those guys sacrificed a shit ton. Me and Ty discussed it. These motherfuckers went to war in a jungle where you didn't have a whole lot of background. These motherfuckers were the real of the real. So if you don't respect your veterans and you think that they need to let it go, fuck you, suck my dick from the back. That's all I got to say.
Well,
right.
Then there's that.
One yet.
Yeah, bro, I was fucking heated, man. It's crazy to me that you got some young fucking 01 who's fresh out of fucking the academy, still got shit stains in his drawers and still freaking breath smell like Similac and shit. And he's got fucking comments about this guy, and he's trying to get attention. That's not what we're out here doing. We're out here proud of what we did because we did some real shit.
Well, but hold on. Yeah. He is looking to get attention, and he wants everybody to know what he stood up, raised his hand for, and walked out there and did that most other people wouldn't volunteer to do. And let's be honest about that hat in particular, is he may or may not have had a choice in going to do that. But the fact that he's wearing the hat means that he believes in what he did. He believes in this country, and he's proud to do what he did. So I'm with you. I think those guys can take a
well. I actually went in and talked with him for just a short time and kind of figured out. I can't remember. I told Ty where it was at. He was in some Kwangsang Valley, like he was in some fucking. What's it called, Ty? What's the name of that place?
Shaw Valley.
Shaw Valley. Like that was some real shit. Like this dude seen and did some real shit in the Army, and I wish those two guys would have been like, we might be able to take him, because I bet that old timer would have fucking annihilated those two freaking air winger fucks. Oh, I was so heated, bro. I was just heated because I wear a veteran hat every now and then, but it's really to help me identify my other brothers in that room, right? Because I know we don't like crowds. We don't do good in large spaces at times. We have our issues. But as soon as you meet another veteran, I tell people all the time, it's the only fraternity in the world where I can meet you on a fucking Monday and you're at my house for a barbecue by Friday, playing with my kids, and we're best friends. Like we immediately connect and we're immediately drawn to each other because of our service and because of what we did. Like, man, if 10 years ago, Al Hero 10 years ago, probably would have just been a fucking straight asshole. But luckily I was with my 10-year-old daughter and my wife, because I would have loved to have been like, hey, you two fucks. Like, how about parade rest, motherfucker? And like, it's just crazy, bro. It's just crazy that there are people on active duty who think like that, who think that because of their status in the military, that means something. That don't mean shit, bro. Because once your service ends, they don't give a fuck what you were, lieutenant, captain. Nobody gives a fuck, bro. I'm not senior chief hero anymore. I'm just Albert fucking Hero. That's who I am today, right? It's crazy that they probably got bullied in high school. They probably were those guys who were like, I'm going to join the military and I'm going to be cool. Nah, you're still not. You still probably
think about it, dude. They're at the point we were when you're brand new in, right? They teach you a lot to make you feel like you are the coolest guy on the planet, and you've achieved that status, and you went through all those things. And what they're going to find out is what we had to find out the hard way. When you get out and you've been in for 20 years and you walk in the door, and you're like, oh, I was in the Navy. People are like, yeah, okay. You're
Congrats.
like, damn, nobody gives a shit, dude. This is crazy. And so, you got to work with it, man. But I tell you what, at some point, they'll figure it out, right? Because there's going to be one guy, to your point, Al, that's going to be in a place where they start saying that guy should let it go, where he's going to go let them know why he should never let it go and why they should be thanking him for even wearing that hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Crazy. Like, oh, look at these guys. They like, dude, really eat your fucking pizza and shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
There you go.
I mean, this is one of those I guess situations where you wish a motherfucker would, that's I would
fuck around and find out, bro. Let's go.
like not even anything physical. I didn't want to beat nobody's ass, but like as far as like to eviscerate this dude verbally, I would love to do that. Just make them feel like that's terrible. Like the generations that came before us, the veterans that, even them old ass NCOs like Lonnie Lochner. I hope he's still listening.
He said he would have lost his shit already.
Yeah, he would have. Like, do you think the people that trained me, do you know what they would do if something like that happened? They would have absolutely lost their minds. So
Ryan's in the background. He said, "Beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker." I'm with him. With him. If my daughter was there, but if it had been one of my sons, I'd have grabbed him by their feet and used him as a freaking baseball bat. And I don't like that.
And Lonnie Lochner is the kind of person that could beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker. He's a big dude like that. One good.
But fight. It was just eye opening because you know what I mean. We're all going to be eventually. Your active duty time is going to end. You're going to enter into this community. You're going to enter into this family, into this fraternity, and I hope those two gentlemen change their thought process. I hope one day when you're a senior officer and you're to a certain level, you respect and you cherish what people have done before you to allow you to have the fucking ability and the right to put on that uniform and become a pilot. Because there's a lot of motherfuckers who pay for it, period.
Hey, I bet you they didn't turn down somebody paying for their meal though. I bet you that didn't happen.
I bet they pulled out that military ID card when it's time for that 10% at Lowe's, you sorry motherfuckers. Hope your wood is warped, bitches.
Thank you for they park in the veteran parking spot. They're like, yeah.
I bet
veteran means like you served already. Like you should be parking in the back and walking, bro.
So Bob, if you were there, you wouldn't have said nothing, but you would have just went right over and probably smacked him in the mouth and started a whole bar fight knowing you. But and then comments from the crowd over here. Cobb, I was not that big, just a lot of attitude and determination. Yeah, you had a lot of attitude and determination, but you did have to turn sideways to get through the gym door, man. Your shoulders are about 6 feet wide. So you were a very large man. What are you, like 6'3", 6'4"? Come on.
Kyle Shooting just nailed it too. Rank doesn't follow you here. This is a different community.
Yeah. We're all the same. Just like when you joined, everybody's the same. Didn't matter what you came into boot camp with or without. Everybody was the same. Just a piece of shit trying to figure it out. And then when you get out, you're just a experienced piece of shit trying to figure it out.
That's right.
Anyway, hey, excellent fire and ice today, Al Hero. That was That was a good one.
Hey, you should go to restaurants every week and find some shit talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 6'3", 250 when he left the Army.
By the way, talking about Al Hero and things that he should do, you need to stop cheating.
All right. Was he cheating? There's a phenomenal shirt.
Bro, stop giving people money to buy your shit. Like, let them do it on their own. Jesus.
There's that the Matt Johnson Whiskey Stories Triple Threat Vet Podcast shirt, and there's the Wax Poetic shirt. What do you think the numbers are this week?
I don't know, but I need Chris Fay to give me my form back so I can put their logo on my sleeve.
Okay. There you go. Let's see. Uh-oh. Do you see the numbers, Al?
I do. I got those are rookie numbers. I got to bump those up.
Hey, but this is good news though. I mean, that's 36 shirts there at X amount of money. That's making money for charity already.
Bob bought 3.
One of these awesome nonprofits is going to get some money. Yeah,
Bob.
Bob.
He likes all of us equally. He didn't play favorites. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got some guys from the barbecue world though. They like mine though. This is Chase Vincent. He's with Drum Smokers. Nice. That's the kind of dude that probably would have broke somebody off if they disrespected them Vietnam veterans. You wouldn't want that dude fucking with you, would you?
No, I don't want to see the dude in a dark
alley.
alley.
I don't even know if we're gonna bring this dude in the background on. He said he likes the green shirt. It's dope.
It is, bro. Phenomenal, bro. It's phenomenal.
I should have left that shit misspelled. You know what I'm saying?
Looks like we have no guests tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That's the show.
That's so funny. Oh, speaking of the barbecue, right? Yeah, Ty, we should tell everybody right now, because at the rodeo, they kick off the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo every year with the World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off, right? It's like 8,000 tents with nothing but dance clubs and parties. That's what you see when you get to the rodeo, but what you don't see is these guys that are mad scientists when it comes to barbecue back there prepping, getting ready, and trying to do what they do every weekend at this world-class stage. And at the barbecue this year, we had some veterans that showed out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I know that you know them better than I do. So I'm gonna let you say their names, but there's some veterans out there that was kicking some ass during that barbecue contest.
Well, I don't even know all of them, but I do know that Josh Hell from Sure Shot Barbecue, he's a veteran Marine Corps sniper or Army sniper, maybe. He won grand champion of the Houston Livestock and Rodeo Show. And Joey Smith, who runs the Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. Now, where did he finish, Matt?
He was third place brisket. It was crazy because, you know, we drive the van. So we're driving the van and all these people get in the van hammered drunk, right? And they're driving around talking shit. The old guy in the front, I guess, who's one of the main guys that help sponsor everything. This dude's trying to get me to take shots driving the van. I'm like, dude, in another day I would, but I don't want to get fired like on a volunteer job, right? And he was talking shit. And they were like, Joey's in the back crying. And I didn't catch it when they said Joey. But then I get out, go around, you got to open the door. You got to put a step down because people followed that van. And that shit hurts. And so everybody gets out. I look up and it's Joey. I was like, oh shit, they were talking about you. And then he saw me and we were like high-fiving and hugging. I was telling him congrats. And then everybody around him was like, how the fuck does he know this guy? You know what I mean? Like,
he was
the driver,
too, right? He was.
I don't know if he was crying, but they were fucking with him. Like, he's crying. Yeah. But he did good, man.
Oh, if he cried, he was in the Army sniper. Marine Corps. When I was in the Marine Corps, we're talking crying. We're taught to cry in the shower. We're taught to cry in the shower like real men. Gunny said cry in the shower. That's what we do. We don't cry in public. That's Army.
Now, speaking of Marine Corps, right?
Mm-hmm. Hoorah.
Speaking of which, I think our guest knows a little bit about that. Crying in the shower, not in public.
Not in public.
But the question I got for him, though, do you take the crayons in the shower with you? Does that make them softer and easier to eat? I don't know. If
you warm them up, heat them up a little bit in the microwave for about 5 to 10 seconds.
And then you can mix the flavors. It's like mixing Skittles when you eat them. Yeah.
Like a honey bun. Yeah. Heat it up.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Yeah. So I think without further ado, Ty, I think you should introduce our guy and we got to bring him on.
Yeah, so we got Ryan Doerrfeld, also known as Theory's United States military or United States Marine Corps veteran. He's the CEO of From the Bottom. He's also a veteran business owner, and he's an artist. We're gonna have him on the show right now. Let's bring him on. Theory, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Oh, no wonder he likes the fucking green shirt. He's wearing a green hat, and that's bullshit, dude.
It's actually a gray hat.
It looks green. Your lighting sucks. I gotta say something bad because you like Al's hat and shirt and whatever. Like this
all of them were cool. All right.
I mean,
all of them were nice.
They all have redeeming features.
Yeah. They all make you look a different way when you.
Yeah, but one of them is the girl in the bar. You're hitting on him first. The other two are like it's last call. You're like, fuck it. I guess we'll go home. That's where we're at. You know what I mean?
The other two were slit picking shirts.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I mean. Okay, I don't mind Harry. I don't mind the mole or the hair.
I think Al's got like a t-shirt budget every month now. He'd be calling people talking about, I'm gonna send you some money, bro. Buy this shirt. What's your size? I got you.
Got I'm
telling
those
you,
numbers, man.
As soon as it goes in, though, dude, like it's every day, ching, 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 and every time it does it. Man, Becky will walk in the room and be like, Al got another one. I'm like, I really need you to stop talking to me. That's not fair. Why are you telling me that Al got another one? So now whenever it dings, I'm like, if it's not mine, don't tell me. I mean, it doesn't matter. I got to make the shit anyway, but like, I'm like,
what is dinging? What do y'all
wait? Like, which one did you make? So I know which one not to get.
I make all of them.
He makes them all, but
when someone buys something, you have like that cash register cha-ching. Your phone makes that sound when someone buys a shirt. So I know someone bought something. So Becky's like,
let's see if we can
get some more for Al. I'm like, what the?
We'll just put the shirts up there and see if we can get people just to buy them.
Yeah, I do like all three of them.
Yeah, they're good, man. And here's the thing: they all go to great organizations. So no matter who wins, somebody's going to do good for veterans, and that's what matters the most. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's go Camp Hope. Let's go Camp Hope.
God bless America.
All right, let's go, Matt.
Yeah. All right. So we have Theory in the house today. We are very, very, humbled and grateful that you've come on to talk with us today. I know that we've talked to you and met you in other places before, seen you around. Shout out to our friend David Willis over there in Kentucky for introducing us to you. And I know that you're in the group with everybody doing that, that podcast with Tip of the Spear. But I'm just excited that we get to bring you on, learn more about you, and talk about your pre-service, service, and post-service journeys. So what we like to do here is we want people to get to know you first, right?
Okay.
So talk a little bit about where'd you grow up, what was childhood like for you, and ultimately what led you into joining the service.
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in Chicago, born and raised in the city, not the suburbs around it. Some people get that confused. But the city of Chicago, I grew up like right by Wrigley Field. So I'm a diehard Cubs fan, no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not a bandwagon fan. I don't like them only when they're winning. For 108 years, they were terrible. So, but yeah, so I diehard Cubs fan, man. I mean, I have a pretty huge family. My mom has 3 sisters. All of them have at least 2 children. I was the first born out of my mom's generation. Basically I didn't really think about joining the service. I finished high school, and right after high school, I started going to college for a little bit at DeVry University. I was trying to study computer information systems and like programming.
Shout out to DeVry University. I got that paper on the wall.
Yeah. I was trying to do that, and I wanted to be a graphic designer, early on in my life, teenager. And I ended up dropping out of college and like a year and a half in because I'm stupid and I wanted to make more money. So I dropped out, got a full-time job, and then I lost that job. And I was living with my mother at the time. Her and my stepdad had just recently separated, and they were getting divorced. And I was like, I don't really know what to do with my life. I don't have much direction. I didn't have any discipline. I didn't have any drive, motivation. I wanted to kind of just hang out and get fucked up with my friends all day. I looked at my buddy's, I think it was MySpace, or it was some kind of social media page. And I had seen that he was doing really good in the Navy, and the Navy recruiter apparently got my phone number from him. And and this is all done without my knowledge. So the Navy,
it always is.
Yeah. So the Navy recruiter calls me on my cell phone one day, and he's like, "Hey man, I got your number from, so-and-so. What do you think about joining the Navy? Would you like to come in and talk about some opportunities?" And I was just like, no. And he was like, "What are you, some kind of pussy?" So I swear to God, that's exactly what he said to me. And I was just like,
that's the good old days.
Yeah. I was like, "Fuck you, dude. Like, get off my phone." So I hung up on him. And I went a little while, still with no direction, no motivation, no drive. And I hadn't even thought about starting to do music at this point in time. This is 10 years, 11 or 9 years before I even started doing music at all. And finally, my mom went with me to the Air Force recruiter. And because she was like, "You can join any branch but the Marine Corps. I don't want you to join the Marine Corps. They're the front lines." Yeah, right. So, any branch but the Marines. I don't want you on the front lines. I don't want you seeing combat. And I'm like, well, I'm 21 years old. Can't really tell me shit. So we went to the Air Force recruiter. I took the practice ASVAB. I got like a fucking 30 on it. I didn't care. And finally, the guy's like, "Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this, that, and we're going to check your credit, and we're going to do this." And I was just like, "What?" And I was like, "You got to check my fucking credit to get into the Air Force?"
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And I was like, "So you're telling me right now," like I told this to the recruiter, like at his desk. I remember sitting there with my mom and my stepdad. And I was like, "You're telling me right now that if I tell you that I'm willing to lay my life down for my country if need be and write a blank check to the United States of America, I may not be able to do it if I have shitty credit," which I didn't, but it was the principle to me. And I was just like, "That's fucking dumb. Have a good day." And I got up and I walked out, and I walked right past the Army recruiting office, because all the branches were in the same building. And so I walked past the Army one, and I saw like some fucking huge fat dude in camis just sitting at his desk. And I was just like, ew. And I walked by the Navy recruiter and I was just like, no. And I walked past the Marine Corps recruiting office and they were playing Xbox doing pull-ups. So I was like,
got him.
I walked right past and I went in. My stepdad drove separate. So he got in his car and he drove away. And my mom and I got into our car. And I was like, oh shit, I left my ID in the Air Force recruiter's office. And she was just like, okay, hurry up, go get it. So I went into the Marine Corps recruiting office. I didn't forget my ID. And the first thing that the recruiter asked me, he didn't ask me my name. He didn't ask me my age. He didn't ask me anything. He said, how many pull-ups can you do? And I was just like, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, I haven't done a pull-up since like senior year in high school. So, and you know, this was 5 years ago. So I was like, I don't know. And he was just like, well, get on the bar. So I got on the bar. I did like 6, I think. I was a scrawny little 120-pound soaking wet kid. And he was just like, well, you only need 3 to graduate boot camp. You want to join the Marine Corps? I swear to God. And I was just like, you got a pamphlet or something, man?
Yeah, pamphlet.
So he gives me a pamphlet and I tucked it in my waistband and I went to my mom's car and I told him that I would be at the next PT session for the poolies. And so I went.
You were already in, you didn't even know it.
Yeah, I know. And so I went in my mom's car and she was just like, I found your ID. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And apparently it had fallen out of my pocket and I never put it back in my wallet. So it was in my mom's passenger seat. And I was like, oh, busted. And she goes, you went into the Marine Corps recruiting office, didn't you? And I was just like, yep. And I pulled out the pamphlets and she lectured me the whole way home. And I told her to come with me for the first PT session. So I went to a PT session with the poolies and they worked me so hard that I puked in the parking lot. And I immediately asked the recruiter, I was like, where do I sign up? Mm-hmm. I was hooked. I don't know what it was. To this day, I cannot give you a definitive answer for what it was. I was just like, I'm in.
Well, I mean, think about it this way, dude. You just said it, right? You went to college, dropped out in a year and a half, wanted to go get a job to make more money, didn't have any discipline or direction. This guy put you on a pull-up bar. You go to a place where there's a whole bunch of people just like you that don't have to be there. And they're all thrown up in the parking lot with you. And you're like, man, all these people are ready to go do this shit. This is cool. Like, they brought you in and just made you part of the family without even knowing it. They just appealed to that sense of belonging. That's what they did well. I don't know how many kids we would talk to. They're like, I'm in the Marines. We're like, what job you have? I don't have one yet. I'm just in. We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience, man. And my mom, she was disappointed. Like, she really was disappointed for a little while. It took her a little bit to warm up to the idea. But once she saw how dedicated I was, and I was at PT all the time, every single session as a poolie, I was always in the recruiting office, learning my Marine Corps knowledge, learning rank structure. And it was something, and I've always been a huge history buff. Like, I love history. So it was just something that I always really felt connected to. And so I was really excited about it. And I think she noticed that excitement after a little while and she started to kind of get it. And then when I did my oath of enlistment and I went into MEPS and I did my oath of enlistment, it was like the proudest moment in the world for her and my stepdad. And you know, I'm a first generation Marine. I had never had, the only family member of mine that was in the military was my cousin Adam, and he was in the Coast Guard as a rescue swimmer. And those guys are badass, but I don't like the ocean. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So, but yeah, I went to boot camp in November of 2010. I was gone from November to February of 2011. And that was terrible because my family is very tight knit and very, very close. And we do the holidays very big, especially Christmas. Thanksgiving, not so much anymore, but Christmas is definitely a real big one. And I was gone for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And instead of being at home with my family, you know, drinking and having fun and opening presents and spending time with my loved ones, I was getting screamed at. So that was fun. but I got out of boot camp, and I had chosen to do avionics. So I was a 6483 electronic countermeasures technician. Had to get a secret security clearance to do the job, which was actually kind of funny because NCIS showed up at my mom's apartment one day, and she was just like, "What the fuck did you do?" And
I was like, checking my credit, Mom. They was checking my credit.
Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah, so I was like, I didn't do anything. Like, I'm in fucking Pensacola, Florida. And she's
God's country.
Freaking,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, she is freaking the fuck out.
Florida, damn it.
Pensacola, Florida was like the best 6 months of my life. Like some of the best 6 months of my life. It was incredible.
Seville Quarter.
Yep. I was
Jeans Lounge. Yeah.
Yep. I went to fucking Flounders all the time.
Yeah.
Got those whatever the fuck the diesel fuels.
Diesel fuels.
They had those big 32-ounce mason jars. Yeah.
I've asked for 3. They won't do it.
Yeah. I went to, oh dude, I've gotten escorted out of Flounders probably more times than I have fingers. So but yeah, it was funny because I was in Florida and my mom calls me and she's like, NCIS came to my apartment tonight or today. And I was just like, she's like, what the fuck did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. They're going through for my security clearance. It's for my job. Don't worry. Like, just answer questions if they ask you. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And
so what job were you doing?
I was an electronic countermeasures technician. So I worked on the ALQ-144s, missile detection systems that went on the aircraft, usually Hueys, Cobras, the shitters, CH-53s. Things like that. And I was also working on like PRQ-7 radios, heads-up displays, all sorts of other things.
Some fucking high-tech shit.
Yeah.
We were knuckle draggers, Matt. We were not doing anything high-tech.
Yeah.
They're like insert key, drive straight.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. I had to do like in my A school in Pensacola, I had to do like fucking calculus for my job, like for avionics. Yeah, it was crazy. So I had the 6400 base MOS, and I went to Pensacola to learn the basics of avionics, and then after I chose to do I-level avionics because I could have went O-level and actually worked on the aircraft itself, but my instructor in Pensacola was like, so if you go O-level, when it's cold as fuck outside, you're climbing the bird. When it's hot as fuck outside, you're climbing the bird. When you're I-level avionics, when it's cold as fuck outside, you're in a heated mobile facility. When it's hot as fuck outside, you're in an air-conditioned mobile facility working on electronic parts. And I was just like, that's the one I want. So I went and did that, and I was in Cherry Point for my C school to learn my specific job for the countermeasures technician part. And then I did that for a couple years, and then I got fapped out to production control. So I was actually running our entire avionics division as a Lance Corporal. I held a sergeant's billet, and I was briefing the captain. I was briefing the sergeant major. I was briefing all the higher ups, Chief Warrant Officer 5, all the guys that were in the mobile facility with me. I was briefing all of them and going to our main production control and briefing all of them for what our plans were to do for the day, what kind of equipment we were working on, generators, or, some of the Caltech guys would have like stuff to do. So it was an interesting.
You may be boring out hero right now, but I'm actually a nerd. But I like
Ty's got a semi. He's over there like sporting wood. I'm over there like,
but out here,
Theory lost.
He's about the drool.
He lost me at the word calculus. I was like, that's about the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is? How about him?
It was.
Can I do that?
It was crazy, man. It was crazy, and I mean, granted, like when I had initially thought about joining the Marine Corps before I actually signed up, I had wanted to do infantry and get out after my 4 years, become a Chicago police officer, go detective, and then do a test for Cook County SWAT. That was like my dream job at that point in time, right? And then I get older. I actually join the service. I go through my 5 years active duty because it was 5 years in 3 years in active ready reserve because my school was a year long. So I had to do an extra year of active and they took that off of my inactive. So I did 5 years. And after I did that, you know, I the way that the world works now, I was like, I'm really fucking happy that I didn't become a cop, because it especially in Chicago, right? Like it's just madness. So, you know, when I was in active duty status, I met my now wife back in 2013. And we started dating, and a year and a half later, we found out that she was pregnant. And it was right around the time that I was supposed to get out. And I had actually wanted to re-enlist for a second enlistment. But when we found out that she was pregnant, I was like, I'd rather not. I've always been a family first kind of person. So I decided to actually do what's called a VERP. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. It's a voluntary enlisted early release program. You can request up to 360 days early release from your original EAS date, depending on if your job qualified for the VERP at that point in time. So my job had qualified for the VERP for the year that I was getting out. So, and at the time, the Marine Corps was actually downsizing. So they had approved the VERP, and I had signed up for 163 days early. So I was supposed to get out November 14th of 2015. I had ended up, my new EAS date was June 1st. And then I had like 30 days of leave saved, and I had another, you know, a couple of weeks of some other kind of leave that I never took for like recruiter's assistance or some shit. And so I got out April 10th was when I got my DD-214, and I immediately started working a job so I could start preparing for my daughter to be born. And when she was born, I decided to stay in North Carolina. So I stayed in Jacksonville. That's where I was stationed, where my wife's from. So I was at New River Air Station. And I ended up staying. And in 2018, we had experienced Hurricane Florence, which hit the Carolinas pretty hard. And Onslow County, which is the county we were living in. And if either of you or if anybody that's watching has been to Jacksonville, you know how close it is to the coast. And so we were under a mandatory evacuation for that hurricane. So I was like, I looked at my wife. We weren't even married at this time. We didn't get married until 2022, but I looked at her and I was just like, we're not staying. And so we left and came to Louisville actually to wait out the storm. And then our place got all jacked up in the hurricane, and there was nowhere for us to go back to. So we just stayed here, and the rest is history.
So what'd you do what job did you get when you first transitioned?
I was actually the manager of a vape shop. It was
Nice.
Yeah, it was okay. So it was attached to a music hall. And the reason why I liked it so much is because I actually got to see like all the real big bands and like acts come perform for free. And I got paid to go there. So like I got to see like Waka Flocka come perform. I got to see Scott Stapp and meet Scott Stapp from Creed. I got to see like Saliva. I got to see them perform. I got to see Head PE, Mushroom Head, like Killswitch Engage came through. Like a whole bunch of crazy bands, and you know, it was a nightclub, you know, with a music hall stage. So it was just a really cool thing for me to, you know, be able to stay home with my daughter enough time, you know, during the day while my wife worked, so I could go make money later instead of finding babysitting and doing all this crazy shit.
Yeah. So let's rewind just a little bit. Let's go back. So you decided to take an early out program. You applied for it, all that stuff. You got out work at vape shop. So was that the plan that you were going to do originally? Did you have all that worked out? Did you prep to do this? Were you just like, I'm going to go? A lot of times we'll ask people what their transition was like. It sounds like you made a pretty good transition if I'm listening, but walk people through what your transition was like, especially since you decided to get out early.
Yeah. I mean, it was a smoother transition. I think that the hardest part about the transition in general, and I believe that all veterans probably feel the same way after spending, you know, however many years you serve. You know, because the Marine Corps, we go through that transition readiness seminar, you know, TRS, and they basically spend a week telling you, don't cuss out your boss, and how to act like a normal human being out in the civilian world. So I think that the hardest part, like I said, for any veteran is just that organization and that what's the term I'm looking for? The regiment. Regiment.
Yeah.
That regiment of the, what to do and being told, like, how to basically live your life for X amount of years, and getting out. And now you're just like, oh my God, I'm free. Like I could do whatever I want. And so that was kind of a weird phase for me. For the first couple months, it was a little bit rough, kind of getting into the habit of not having to have that regimen anymore. So it was easier than a lot of people's, though, because I did have it in my head before I had actually transitioned out of active duty that I was going to get out and be a dad first before I was going to try and be a Marine dad.
So did you do any deployments while you were in?
No. And that was actually one of the reasons why I had decided to do the VERP. So I was scheduled to go for Operation Enduring Freedom to Afghanistan. And I believe it was June of 2015 we were leaving. And I was like, well, my daughter is going to be born in August of 2015. So I'm not going. And my gunny looks at me and he's just like, the fuck you are. He's like,
I don't think you don't have a choice.
You're going to cry in the shower in about 20 minutes. You're going to cry in that shower.
Yeah, basically. And he was like, you're fucked in the head if you think you're not going to go. You're going to put in your fucking VERP. You can put it in if you want to, but you're going to put in a extension because we weren't going to be back until like December or January the next year. So I was scheduled to get out in November. And so I was like, even if I didn't get out early, I was still going to have to extend like a month or two.
So what did he say when you got approved for the early out? That's what I want to know.
So it was actually kind of funny because I had right after I had this conversation with my gunny, I called our S1 it's our admin, I guess, thing in the hangar. I knew the guy, so I was like, "Hey, man, can you check and see if 6483 MOS is qualified for the VERP?" And he's like, "Yeah, let me check." And it was, and he's like, "Do you need me to email this to you?" And I was like, "Fuck yes, I do." So I printed it out, filled it out, and I brought it to my staff sergeant. My staff sergeant signs it, and I slap it on Gunny's desk, and he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I was just like, "Please, dude, I'm not." My logic was this, okay? And this is what I told him too. I was like, my daughter, it's my very first child, okay? To this day, right now, I have never met my biological father, not once. I've never seen a picture of the man. If I wouldn't even call him a man. I've never seen a picture of him. I've never heard his voice. I just know that he's full-blooded from Cuba, and he cheated on my mom and beat her and lied to her and borrowed money and stole and did all this shit to my family. And he was just a real piece of shit.
Well, so I brought you on the show to tell you something. I just want you to know.
Fuck you. So
my family's Cuban, bro.
Yeah. Hey, you never know, man.
Son, I'm sorry. It's been a while.
No, you're good. You're good. I forgive you after almost 37 years.
That was quick, man.
Yeah. Just meet me. I don't have guns or anything.
Oh shit.
Go ahead. Just meet me at the house. We'll have dinner.
Oh, shit.
But no. In all seriousness, I've never met my biological father, and I always told my mom growing up, I was always like, it's mommy's. I always told my mom, it's one of the things that worries me and scares me the most is like whenever I do have a kid, that I'm going to turn out like my dad. It's going to freak me out. I'm not going to want to be a part of it. I'm gonna, it was just scary. And you're in charge of raising and keeping another human being alive. It's something that's really scary. So I was like, my logic and what I told to my gunny was, what I don't want to do is miss my daughter's first birth, because it's my first kid. And even if I were to go on this deployment and miss my daughter's birth, when I come back, even if we had another kid, I still could not ever be able to experience that again. Right. So that was my logic. And I told him that, and he's like, all right, fine, whatever. So he signed it. I give the paperwork to the captain. He signs it. And I brought it over to the hangar, had all the higher ups sign it, and then it finally got approved. So like I said, I knew what my plan was shortly before I had gotten the decision to actually do the early out, and that I was going to be a dad first, and I was going to focus on my family. So if I had just randomly decided to get out, I think it may have been a little more difficult. But because I had that mentality where this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to want to be as involved with my daughter's life as humanly possible, without taking a chance that, she grows up without a dad, or grows up with a dad that has post-traumatic stress disorder like crazy, or grows up with a dad that doesn't have limbs, or whatever, worst case scenario. I'm a worst case scenario person. So that was kind of my mentality on it. So I don't regret it by any means. Part of me kind of wishes I would have stayed in, but I know there would have been a price to pay for that. So yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at. So
no, good on you, bro. Most people that are watching, I'm sure, would respect the decision you made to do that, because there's a lot of us that went through and did a lot of things in the military, and Al's one of these guys, man. Like, what was it? Felt like every 9 months they were moving to a new place just so that he could roll.
Yeah, I'm a testament to the opposite side of that coin theory. I put the military first for so many years, which it is what it is, right? I was married to the service. I was married to the Navy and to the Marine Corps when I served with those guys. And that's what I did. I mean, I left on my first deployment, and I had a brand new son. And when I came home, this motherfucker is like a grown ass man, right? So I mean, and you do, and I'm Ty's the same way. I have the PTSD where I've been inpatient and I've been a monster for many, many years, right? And my kids have had to deal with that and experience that. So yeah, my hat's off to you on making that decision. I know it was a hard decision because, like you said, you wanted to stay in, you wanted to continue your service, but sometimes you got to make the hard choice, and the hard choice sometimes is to walk away from something that you love and something that to for the betterment of others around you, and you did that. So I'm with Matt. I mean, my hat's off to your decision to get out. I was going to razz you and be like, oh, you didn't want to go on deployment. What a bitch move. But no, the truth of the matter is, you were smart, and you put your family first, whereas I didn't do that, and now I am.
That's for 20
years.
What I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get. That was the one thing that I told my recruiter. I was like, because initially he was just like, so what kind of job are you wanting to do? This is when I was after my ASVAB. We were talking about different jobs. Because I think I got like a 72 or a 73 on my actual ASVAB.
God, no wonder you did fucking avionics.
Yeah,
damn, bro.
So he was just like, you could choose like
any job you want. You can take any job you want.
Yeah. So he was like, you could choose this, that, the other. And I told him, I was like, I just want to get deployed and blow shit up.
Yeah.
Like that was legit what I told him. And I was just like, I don't join like some people, Al, you can kind of attest to this too. Every Marine, a rifleman, we're all trained the same, this and that and the other. But like for a lot of Marines, it's like, you don't join the Marine Corps, which is the world's deadliest fighting force, to push papers, right? And so I was like, what can I do that is practical for me to be able to develop a good skill, and thinking like for my future,
right?
At this point, even if I were to have stayed in 20 years, for after I get out, have a good resume to be able to get hired on at like Boeing or I don't know, some airline or something with aviation. So what can I do that's practical, but that is also badass and that can provide support for the guys that are actually on the ground getting the shit done, right? And And so I thought avionics was like the perfect way to do it. And I loved what I did. I really did. And like I said, I loved being in the Marine Corps. It was the best, worst decision I've ever made in my life. And I say that heartfully too. It was the best thing I ever decided to do. All the doors that opened for me afterwards were unbelievable. I don't have any regrets whatsoever. I'm a very firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So when I found out that my now wife was pregnant, that I feel like that was kind of God's way of saying, this is bigger than you now. Like, the Marine Corps was something bigger than you, but this is big. So, this is your next chapter. And so I did everything that I possibly could to start preparing for that chapter of my life. So
speaking of next chapters, Matt, I'd like to get into his music and what he's doing now. You want to jump us to a break? You think it's a good time to break, or you want to keep going?
No, we can take a quick break. Go grab something to drink. Go grab some popcorn. Go text all your friends, because we know you haven't done that yet. But you guys have probably been watching TikTok the whole time you've been on here. We know how this shit goes. But get on there. Invite people to come in, learn some more about it, and we'll be right back after this message.
On average, we lose 22 veterans to suicide every single day. These heroes who once fought for our freedom now battle invisible wounds. Mission 22 is dedicated to healing our veterans and providing them the support they need. As a leader in our community, we stand with Mission 22 as we believe in giving back to those who have given up so much for us. It's our way of saying thank you for your service. For more information, visit mission22.com.
Yeah, I'ma keep rocking while filling my body up with these toxins. Eyes on the prize, homie, I'm locked in. Motherfucker, plan B, ain't no other option. This been the plan and I won't ever stop it. Gotta get it by any means. I can't chill, I'm too focused on getting green. Stuff my pockets with so much it split the seams. Now it's reality, no longer a dream. Man, fuck all that fantasy shit. I got tired of counting up sheep. Now I'm counting money. Y'all won't think it's funny when y'all see me buy a new house on the beach.
But they don't hear me though.
And again, hopping the wave, get to the booth, make draws start dropping again, stopping. Never been no option, cause my competition been flopping again, topping the 10 best rappers coming out of my city. Got them all sobbing again, plotting to win. But I got a question, when is hip hop gonna start hip hopping again? Haters mobbing again, shocking to see them all start flocking again. I'm gonna get the mic cocked, but I can't let y'all's blood get on my conscience again. I'd rather fuck your girl and after take the bitch shopping again. And she gonna come back knocking again, sopping wet, gotta start mopping again.
Bruh.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm gonna have to Google half the words he said, because he knows he got some good wordplay, bro. I don't even.
And he says them super fast, so I know that you couldn't keep up. But listen, real quick.
Squirrel. You hear me all day long.
Ty, we have to get into this, right?
Yeah, we got to get into one more thing. I got to address something about the his ability to stand up for not deploying, because I got the adverse. So go ahead.
Okay, well, we're gonna get into something real quick before that, and everybody. We want to talk about bitch moves real quick. All right, just bitch moves.
I'm sorry. Was it me?
There was some challenges dropped down here in the last week, right? So just letting y'all know that 2 of the 3 of us decided, hey, we're gonna do this, and I haven't seen the video come back from somebody else that was.
I'm going to do it. I've just got to dust off the Speedo.
What do you mean dust off the Speedo? You just bought it. Amazon delivered it yesterday, bro.
No, I was like,
so the notorious Speedo has arrived.
Yeah,
the Speedo's in the house.
Here, bro.
I'm just saying. I saw the text though. I think I'm gonna give. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what they did.
Hey, look, Kyle Shooting made a good point about.
What was the point?
His point was, I'm gonna donate as well as do the challenge as well. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna donate money and I'm going to do the challenge.
Oh yeah.
I am going to do it, bro.
I'm glad we could peer pressure you into this.
I give you my word as a man. Sometimes as a man. Sometimes I identify as a bitch, apparently. So
yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. You need to go get one of those flamingo flags or some shit, put in your background.
In the moments.
Don't worry, Theory. Those shirts don't sell out. We can make as many as y'all can buy. Just saying.
I'm doing it. bro.
Make sure you take that pine. April, I hope that you wind up just like Becky did as like a relief pitcher in the major leagues and just let Al have it. Knowing Al, though, he's going to let Kinsey do it so that it's not as like forceful.
Yeah, my boy Buck knows I'm rocking that Pete. I'm gonna rock that Speedo to Pensacola Beach too, bro. I'm gonna have to wax up a little bit though, bro. It's still wintertime in my mind, so I gotta trim it up.
It's always wintertime in your mind, dude.
You can't like an acorn in a bush right now. I gotta clean him up first. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to see that.
Oh, what do you mean David wouldn't let you, Julie? See, David, I think you got to re-record yours, man. I heard David's was weak. I didn't see it.
Anyways, back to Ty. Ty, go ahead. Wax.
Oh yeah. Let's get off the shit Al doesn't want to hear about.
Well, So just the like when I started deploying, I went to Fort Campbell. We knew we were going on a peacekeeping mission to Kosovo. I immediately volunteered, and I had a brand new kid at home, and which was Kaysen, my 24-year-old now, 24-year-old now. So I was ready to go, and I deployed 7 times. So, and I have 6 kids. So I was away so much from my kids. I wonder what it would have been like if I had completely changed my career, because my career went on one trajectory because I was out there and gone so much, but my career may have went a completely different way, and I may have had just as much job satisfaction maybe, and then a different, better home life if I would have decided to stay home more. So, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but yeah, but that, you see what I'm saying? Like Lonnie Lochner knows what I'm talking about exactly. Like when I would get home from deployments, I would get taken into offices and they would be like, hey, you're going on another deployment. Are you ready to go in 3 months? Are you ready to go in 6 months? And it was literally back to back from the time 9/11 happened until I left Fort Campbell in 2009. And Lonnie Lochner was one of my first sergeants. Woodring was one of my sergeant majors. Quentin Smith was one of my first sergeants. So I had a completely different mindset when I was in the military. I was one speed, and that was go, send Ty. Ty can do everything. I was always Advon. I did all that stuff, and that's what I wanted to do. So I was very selfish. So anyway, and then the other thing, I don't remember what I was going to say, but I've been listening to that Hear Me Though song all day long. And, I got some nice Beats headphones, and I ran the Beats out listening to it because I was trying to, during the hot seat, I'm probably going to ask him to tell me his favorite bard or something. So that Hear Me Though song is good. And I just like seeing veterans do good shit. And he's got a cool story, did service, had a completely different experience in the military than I did, like all I did was military for a whole career. I was in my whole career, and it pretty much defined me, and his music and his family is defining him. So it's really cool that this podcast allows us to capture those stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it looks like the president's getting ready to come in. So you want to bring our guest back?
Yeah, he's way cooler than who's going on TV right now. So let's do it.
Cool. I didn't know how to segue that. I just saw.
There you go. Well, here's what I would say as we bring him back on.
Yeah.
I would say the reason that I like doing this podcast too is think about this way. All of us on here, including Theory, have done things differently in our careers. But the thing that I like the most here is we all appreciate what each other did, right? Like Ty, we've had conversations before about how I feel about certain things, and you, as someone who deployed as many times as you did and did all the things you did, are like, are you dumb? Like, why are you saying that? Like, it's just as important as what everybody else did, right? Because we all served, we all stood up to say that we would support and defend in the way that we did. And so that's the part about this podcast that I like, is that everybody is able to come on and tell their stories, and we can appreciate them for what they are, not pick apart what it is and compare it to what someone else did. It's just the fact that we all did it. We all stood up, we all served. And that right there is what's most important. So that's what I like about this, and why we get to do it, for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let's bring the dude back, because we're going to get into some of his actual music stuff now and some of his stuff. And then we'll put him on the hot seat, and then we'll get out of here, man. Let's bring Theory back.
Boom.
Hey. Hi.
What you
Hi.
think? We're halfway through. So do you have a cool rap for the halftime show real quick? No, I'm just joking. I don't.
I mean, whatever.
Lots of cool halftime shit going on in the hip hop community lately, though, huh?
By the way, you'll see this little one walking around. That is my daughter.
Hey, what's
Hello.
going on?
That's Sadie. Yeah,
Hey, Sadie.
she is now 9.
I saw you earlier.
Mine's 10, bro. I got a 10-year-old daughter, so I feel your pain.
I saw you orchestrating the whole family. You're like, shh, shh, snap, snap, and like try to stop somebody coming through
Yeah.
the kitchen.
Hey, that's such a dad move. The whole
maestro shit, man.
Dude, y'all didn't hear him. He was mid-sentence like, nope, that's your mom's. And then what I was doing the other day when I was walking around, like, it didn't even change, bro.
such a
You
dad move.
you have to stay focused.
Yeah.
Right?
Knife hand from across the room.
Oh yeah, that happens constantly. But no,
I
just real quick before we carry on, I do want to say, you know, that I appreciate you guys having me on the show, because, you know, the whole veteran community thing, it's something that, you know, kind of like touching on, you know, me not staying in and doing my full 20 like I initially wanted to do. Something that I always wanted to be a part of, though, was the veteran community, and try to do everything that I possibly could to help where I can and how I can, and give back to the veterans, you know, because all of us, regardless of if you served 4 or 5 years or if you served 24 or 25 years, you know, we hear it all the time, you know, everybody who's signed over a blank check, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It's always such a very humbling experience. And so, you know, for you guys, thank you for allowing me to come on and kind of, you know, have everybody get to know me, tell my stories and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been fun getting to know you and listen to you, you know, go back and forth with some of the other podcast hosts too. So I kind of feel like I already know you and how you're going to respond, but I've not interviewed you directly before.
He's still going to try to fuck you up though. It's all good.
Nah. It's all
Yeah, he will. Yeah,
I don't care. I'm an open
It's
book,
going to be
man.
fun. Yeah.
There ain't shit you can ask me that's going to embarrass me or get me off guard. I don't care.
Just think about it this way, though. Everybody that's listening and everybody that's here right now, the thing that you have to remember is when you get out and you have that status, everybody's status at the end of their name when they get out says veteran.
Yeah.
It doesn't say captain. It doesn't say private first class. It doesn't say senior chief. It doesn't say sergeant first class. It says veteran. So no matter how much time you serve, you're a veteran. So I like that we get to meet you, and I'm glad that you're doing things for the veteran community, because it's, you know, the younger guys like us are the ones that need to start doing more with the veteran community. Otherwise, it's not going to be what it needs to be. And it's not going to be what it was for the guy that Al saw in the restaurant this weekend. And those are the guys that when they got out, went and helped and did things. And that's what the problem sometimes right now is with the younger generation, is we're not willing to go in and do those things and help where we can, you know? So that's why that's another reason to do this. It's part of the mission, is so we can all get out there and help. So.
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
right. So hey, Matt, let's get into maybe some of the music. What you think?
Yeah. So that's one question I have for you. So you did avionics. You worked at at the store when you got out. You did and went to a lot of concerts. But what made you decide that music was something you wanted to pursue? Like, at what point in your life? Was it when you were way younger? After you got out? Like, what about music talked to you, and when did that come about?
Yeah, it's a very packed question. There's a lot to unpack there, so I'll shorten it up as much as I can.
Oh no, don't. Just
don't shorten. Go as long as you want.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, you don't want to tell me that, but no.
Yeah, we do.
So okay, fine. So essentially, when I was growing up in Chicago, you know, in my real early years, you know, 6, 7, 8, as far back as I can possibly remember, my mom's youngest sister, Amy, she was the one who introduced me to hip hop in general, like just Bone Thugs and Harmony, Nas, you know, Tupac, Biggie, all those, you know, early on, Run DMC, all the real big hip hop, you know, pioneers, I should say, not entrepreneurs. I guess you could say entrepreneurs, but regardless. So I was introduced to hip hop at a very early age, and I've always grown up around it, and I've always had such an appreciation for the art itself. Poetry to me, because that's all rap music is. It literally stands for rhythm and poetry. It's a very beautiful thing for me when you can take your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your experiences, and you can put them in the form of a poem, make things rhyme, and tell a story that can possibly resonate with somebody else and have them feel, no matter what it is that they feel something. So that's always been a very amazing thing for me, that anybody who can accomplish that is gifted in my eyes. So when I was growing up and listening to all this rap music, and Eminem, got involved with Eminem and, Big Sean and a lot of these other guys, that were a little more new when I was, growing up, in the late 90s. And, that was a huge influence for me because, I remember when I was younger, my parents wouldn't allow me to have CDs that had the parental advisory sticker on it. I'd always have to get the edited versions. And, now, with Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music, you can't stop a kid from listening to cuss words in music. They're all they have to do is just fucking search it.
My 12-year-old is listening to the same rap that I was listening to when I was in basic training when I was a kid. Like he knows, he knows who Run DMC is as much as he knows who, Kendrick Lamar and Dr. Dre is. He goes that back generational. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
I get that artistic shit that you're talking about because, I'm a real artistic guy. I love music. I got a buddy named Sean Tibbetts who's like a hip hop encyclopedia, and then one of my I guess heroes is MC Search because he's a hip hop encyclopedia himself. So to see you kind of respect all aspects of before and like kind of where you're going now. So go ahead, wax poetic, man. I like hearing it.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, I mean it's a very real thing. It's you have to pay homage to the ones who did it before you, because without them it wouldn't be what it is today, right? So and then that goes for anything that you do, right? It doesn't necessarily just mean music or any specific genre. It's anything that you do. You always show appreciation for the ones who did it before you, because without that, it wouldn't be now what it is. So with music, it's just the same thing. So when I was really young, again, kind of going back to that, getting the edited versions of all these CDs, it was, before MP3 players and all that shit. And I wanted to kind of listen to Eminem the most. And it was obviously now, looking at it now, you can tell, the influence with Eminem. He's been a huge influence for me, but I grew up rapping along to his songs when I was a teenager. And so I had a passion for rap very early in my years, when I was just single digits in age still. But I didn't start doing music until I was 30. The journey between that was most of, what I told you with, not having any discipline or any kind of, drive or motivation, and then joined the Marine Corps. And I got that drive and determination, that motivation, and that don't quit attitude, and nothing you can't tell me. And now, taking that mentality and that kind of persona out back into the civilian world and applying that to all these other things. I hadn't gone more than 2 weeks without working between 2015 and now, between not doing anything, as far as not necessarily even working, like, being a full-time student using my GI Bill, which is something I've been doing. So always doing something and having the motivation and the determination and the drive to want to better myself is ultimately what I mean. So when I was 30, I had the hurricane happen. We evacuated, came to Louisville, lost our place back in North Carolina. and we ended up staying here in Louisville and just kind of starting over. Well, we stayed in a hotel, and then we stayed in a Red Cross shelter because we had nowhere to go. And the Red Cross shelter was here in Louisville, and we stayed there for 5 days. And then after the 5th day, they were like, here's a debit card with $985. Good luck. We have to shut this thing down because we're going to the coast to help the actual hurricane victims. We were like, shit, what are we going to do? We go to another hotel, and mind you, it's myself, my wife. We still weren't married at the time, but myself, my wife, her oldest daughter, our daughter that we had together, and then my cousin. So it's the 5 of us, and the only money that I had coming in was my 40% disability from the VA, which at the time was like $644 a month. And it was unbelievably stressful. So we finally got another hotel, and we saw how much it was for 2 weeks. Or we asked them how much it would be for 2 weeks, and they were like $985 exact. And I was like, that's a fucking sign. So I gave them the debit card from the Red Cross shelter, and we stayed there for the 2 weeks. During that 2 weeks, my wife finds a program called Volunteers of America. They have a veterans department where they help displaced veterans who are displaced from natural disasters, and they help find them housing. Once they find you housing, or once you find the housing, they pay for your security deposit to get in. They pay for your first 3 months of rent. They pay for your first 3 months of your water and electric bills and utilities. They pay for getting you and your family beds, bed frames, bed sheets, cooking ware, silverware, cleaning ware. And so I was blessed to be able to qualify for that program because that's what got us into our first apartment here in Louisville. And the day that we signed our lease was the day.
What year is this?
This is 2018. This is, we had signed our lease in, I believe it was October of 2018. The hurricane happened in September. We had actually left Jacksonville, North Carolina on September 11th in 2018. We drove to Louisville. So we signed our first lease the day that, like, on our last day at the hotel. So it all seemed like it was just, it pieced together way too perfect. And so we were very, very blessed to have all that happen. And it was still very stressful though, because our rent was $985 a month. I had a $500 a month car payment. We only had the one vehicle. Car insurance was like $300 something. And you know, we would have had to get our own electric and water paid for at some point. You know, they don't continue to pay for it. So the foundation doesn't. So I knew that it was going to be a struggle, and we struggled a lot financially, and my car ended up getting repossessed because I couldn't keep up with the payments. And so after my car got repossessed, we were broke. I mean, our bills were paid for the most part, but except the car. But I mean, realistically, what matters most is, am I going to pay my rent and get groceries, you know, so my family can eat and have a roof, or am I going to pay my fucking car payment? It's a no brainer, right? So it was really difficult. And I had an anxiety attack that actually put me in the hospital 2 days after my car got repossessed. And that was February 6th of 2019. I got in the hospital. The doctor comes up to me, and he had somebody from the VA mental health department come up to me because he told me that it was stress induced. And he's like, you got to find a way to manage your stress. Otherwise, next time you might not be so lucky. And I was like, well, shit. Okay. I didn't know what to do with that information. So, you know, the VA lady comes in and she sits down and she starts asking me, you know, have you ever thought about hurting yourself? Have you ever thought about hurting others? All the typical questions that they always ask you. And, you know, obviously no to any of those. never once. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I had actually had such a bad response to that anxiety attack that when it put me in the hospital, I didn't know what to do in order to combat that stress and that anxiety and to make sure that I was better. So after that, I kind of became like a borderline hypochondriac. And I always thought that my body was failing on me. I would constantly have my hand over my heart, check my heart rate. I would breathe, take deep breaths. And my brain, like I said earlier, I'm a worst case scenario person. What if I just drop dead right now? And I was nervous about it because I felt like I had become so close to dying at that point. So I was already super nervous. And
so are a lot of your raps coming from that aspect, like from like the spiritual part of like right there? Like, is that where a lot of them are drawn from when you write?
Yeah.
Get into some of like where some of that comes into your current writing now.
So it all kind of stems from that because ultimately when I had gotten out of the hospital that day, I asked my buddy, I was like, what am I going to do? I was lost. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do, man. I'm spinning out of control right now. And he was like, well, you always said you wanted to start doing music. Why don't you start writing? And I was like, whatever. So I looked up a YouTube beat, a Mac Miller type beat on YouTube. And I just started writing a poem. And I wrote about my experiences, where my head was at. I wrote about my anxiety and my stress and, growing up without a dad and being stressed about bills and this and that and just like everyday stuff. And I wrote this whole song and I rapped it back to a buddy of mine. And he was like, this is actually really, really good. And I was like, you're just saying that, right? It's garbage. Just go ahead and tell me. He's like, no, I'm serious. And so I was like, all right, well, he brought me to a studio. And at this point, between now and the time that I went in the studio for the first time, I had kept writing and it took over my life. The writing and the doing the music and writing the music was the only thing that really allowed me to take that negative energy and those negative thoughts and turn them into something positive and productive. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I fell in love with it. And the love, like I was saying earlier, the love that I had for hip hop music and the respect and the appreciation that I had for the culture and the art form from my whole life kind of also poured into now, or at that point when I started writing my own stuff. And so I was just blown away. And I've always been very good with poems and writing and telling stories. I had a poem published when I was in high school. So I was so connected to it. And I didn't want to do anything else. I made up my mind. And after I started doing it more and more and more, going to a studio, and then eventually I met, I did a live performance for the first time, and that's where Berserk and I met. He actually introduced me. He was hosting the show that I went to perform at for my very first time, and him and I became friends after that. And I met some other artists, and I eventually started chopping it up with them. And then I learned how to record and how to use Pro Tools and other DAWs, which is a digital audio workstation that you use to record your vocals and make beats and things like that. And I learned how to use some of that. And I eventually got my own recording equipment because I was like, fuck going to the studio and paying $40, $50, $60, $70 an hour for somebody else to do this shit. I could just spend a one-time investment and eventually make that money back, with the art that I make with it. And I learned how to do it myself, and I've been doing it myself ever since. And the rest is history, man. I like being able to touch different pockets of the styles that I try to embody in some of my music, because I don't want to be so monotone, and I don't want to be so repetitive and boring with the type of songs that I make. So I try to do.
I was gonna ask, what is your favorite flow right now? Like what kind of stuff you working on right now?
Triple Threat Vet Podcast intro. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Boom. There you go.
Dude, so many people have asked me to do an intro song for them, and I'm so down. I'm so down. Because I've got, I'm in school for audio engineering and music production. So, I'm pretty good with making beats now. And obviously, I record and mix and master all my own vocals and everything. So, I'm so down to do that. But I have so many people who have asked me that. And I'm just like, shit, man, I feel so bad. Like, Willis has been waiting on me to make an intro for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Oh, look, man, he couldn't even take a pie in the face. Come on.
Oh, well, no, if he wants an intro, he's got to take a pie.
Hey, I'll do it,
Exactly.
but I'll take whatever you want in the face. I was in the Navy. Hey. I'll be in Theory's video in a Speedo. Go ahead and put me in a video.
Fucking think I won't.
Let's do it.
Hey, we are planning on going to Louisville at some point to hang out with one of our.
Oh, yeah,
friends.
for sure.
Let's do it. I'm here,
Let's
man.
go.
I literally don't do shit except music and play PlayStation and clean my house and take care of my wife now that we got this medical condition of hers going on. But that's
I don't know if this
whole
is
other
rude
thing.
or not to ask, but how old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay, so we're all approaching 50. So,
Nah, I'm not, bro. I'm
as long as
only
you don't
40.
mind
I'm
me
40.
knowing-
Bro, I'm 44. I'm not 50 yet.
God damn, you look old as shit.
Me and
dude.
Matt are
That's
we're
that's
50, but
living a
we know
rough
how
life.
to party, but we're still almost 50.
No, I mean, that was a huge insecurity for me at first, and that's the whole thing with the name Theory. Because I can't take credit for that name. A buddy of mine, the guy who told me to start writing, he was the one who came up with the name Theory, and he put the number 30 in the name because I was 30 when I started, so it's kind of a play on words.
I was gonna ask you that question. I'm glad you said it before I could ask.
Yeah. So that was a huge insecurity for me was my age, because a lot of people that you see that blow up in music most of the time, they're 18, 19, 20, and they're making millions of dollars, and here I am 30 years old,
Man, I
just
didn't
getting
mean
started.
that. My bad.
No. I don't care.
And Bruce Wayne type thing.
I'm nowhere near insecure about it anymore. I used to be so self-conscious about that because I used to convince
You're
myself
like somebody's dad. You're the dad rapper.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody wants to listen to some.
Now he walks in and he
30-year-old
goes, "You
talk about
fucking
his
right,
life."
I'm the dad
No, man,
rapper. Let's go."
Yeah.
That's what
Now it's like I've gotten so confident in myself and my skill set that there's not shit that you can tell me, and that kind of I credit the Marine Corps for some of that too. That kind of attitude where it's like, you can't tell me
100%.
shit. So, combine that with, the fact that I know I'm good at what I do. Like there's nothing that you could tell me. I could keep up with anybody. I could get on a song with somebody. That's my mentality going into it. If I'm going to do a feature with some huge famous person, I'm trying to put their, verse that they write for that in the ground. Like I'm trying to outshine you. Yeah.
Kill them all. Let God sort them out. I'm with
Absolutely. So
yeah, that's what I see.
That's hot, bro. That's hot.
That's what I like about your whole philosophy with music. From what I've heard from you from the other podcasts, and this is like I really love. I love that you can change your flow. You can go different beats.
Yeah.
You can do different genres, different time periods of rap.
Yeah,
I like how you can speed up and slow down. But anyway, I love hearing your story. Unless you guys got any more questions, it's time to get hot.
I said that, bro. That's hot. Dang. Okay.
I thought you were talking about me. Oh,
No, we're not. You just said you're 44. I thought you were like 62, bro. You stop wearing them flannel shirts and dyeing your beard purple, and then we'll
first
be
of
all
all,
right.
I'm country, motherfucker.
dyeing your beard purple. What the fuck?
It was the accident, bro. It was an
Dude,
accident.
I'm finding I just shaved this, like it was significantly longer. And my whole family, like my wife and my two daughters, cuss me out whenever I shave my beard. Like they fucking hate it. And I found a bunch of gray hairs in my beard. I've been finding gray hairs, like a lot of them.
I get
found a
excited.
couple.
Let's check out some gray hair.
Hey,
And,
Ryan,
well,
when
you're
I
not gonna
find
be
a
able to
black
see it
hair,
now.
I get excited. I'm like, "Ooh, it's a black one. It's a new black one." Oh,
Yeah,
shit, bro.
I'm actually kind of excited. I think I'm gonna look good with a salt and pepper beard.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It does. Makes you look distinguished, just like
Yeah.
the three of us.
Feel like fucking Sean Connery, like all classy and shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
James.
I don't know. I don't know if people think Al's classy though, because they always go, "Why did you dye just the circle around your mouth. And he's like, it grows naturally. They're like, bullshit.
Got your
And
soul
then what do you
patch.
tell him, Al? What do you tell him? I
It's
eat
'cause
a lot of ass.
I eat a lot of ass. It keeps it dark.
There you go. Gotta
Oh.
hide the smearing.
You gotta hide the
Yeah.
smearing.
Yeah.
And by the way, this I was gonna take a sip of this. This is a 0 alcohol beer. I wanted to kind of just put out there before we got into the hot seat thing. I decided to get sober back in January of 2024. So it has been 13 months now, or 14 months technically. And that is
Congrats, bro.
thank you. It was just a personal decision. I did not feel like I had a problem with drinking at all. It was just something that I felt kind of tapped into my creative bubble in a negative way over time. And, I would wake up hungover. I wouldn't want to do music. I wouldn't want to work on my school shit. And I needed to stop it. So I did, and I cut cold turkey. But if you did see me sip this at all, it is a 0 alcohol beer. I credit that to a good chunk of my more recent creative works as far as the music is, because I feel like I have a lot more creativity flowing through me
Don't worry. For every beer
Congrats.
you don't drink, I'll drink one. Don't
Me
worry,
too.
bro. I got
Go
you,
for it, man. And it's so funny because
I'm 2 days sober technically. I haven't had a beer in 2 days. So
it's like that one reel where the dude's like, this is day 1 without beating my meat. And the next time, this is day 1 without beating my meat. He starts over every day.
I'll never stop doing that. Shit, I'm married.
No shit, right?
Well, on that,
That's going to be a real next week right there. View theory.
There you go.
It's going to be all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What's this hot seat, man?
This is what I was going to say though before we go to get into the hot seat. Real, I think it's cool that that our generation can appreciate your interpretation of hip hop, and it matches something that I like.
Yeah.
Like I love the beats that Berserk has. I love all the
super talented guy, man.
Yeah, I love how fast you rap. I like that it kind of skips. I like a very fine appreciation of hip hop, and it seems to go pretty deep with you. So that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I try to keep it like a good mix of old school and new school. I'm a big New York beat style kind of guy. Like I love the New York boom bap style, but I also love like Chicago drill rap style. I also love the West Coast, G funk kind of style. So like I try to, and that's what I meant. Like I try to mix it up a lot. I try to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I love heavy metal music and rock music. So I did a whole punk rock EP with my buddy Ryan Watts. I did a metal song with Ryan Watts that I'm actually performing here in Louisville with him and his band on this coming Saturday. So,
when you said Head PE earlier, I was like, that's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Bro. Head PE, bro.
Dude, live in concert, they're nuts.
I think they're out of Cleveland too. I think they're from that area.
I believe so. Yeah. No, the main vocalist is a cool dude, man. I got to meet him when I worked at that vape shop. He's a cool motherfucker, man.
All right, Ty, you're up, bro.
All right, man. All right, let's do this.
Thank you to everybody in the comments, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got a lot of love in there.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Willis family says they appreciate you.
Yeah. Julie, I'm 22.
Yeah. All right. With your military background in mind here, what is more important to you? Loyalty or respect?
Loyalty, because I feel like with loyalty comes respect.
All right, cool. I like that answer. All right, are you a big sports fan?
I don't keep up with sports, but I do enjoy sports. Baseball mostly, baseball and basketball.
Okay, well then I don't want to be cliche, but I'm gonna ask you, who are your top 5 MCs of all time? No particular order. Go.
Eminem, J. Cole, Rakim, Kendrick, and I would say, as far as lyricism, I'm a huge Logic fan. Huge Logic fan.
Yeah, I like some of Logic stuff, and then I like Kendrick Lamar since I heard swimming pools. When my daughters were still in high school listening.
Method Man would eat them all up. Method Man would kill all of them.
Method Man is dope. Method Man is dope too. I can't discredit that. There's so many people, but like that's what I love about music is that it's so subjective. You know,
exactly.
Like
because you could be in one mood, you'd be like, "Fuck," Wu-Tang or something. I know nobody would ever be saying "fuck Wu-Tang," but
yeah, you can't.
At some point, okay.
I was just listening to Method Man earlier today.
Hell yeah. There's this Method Man freestyle where they're in this theater and I think they're filming a Wu-Tang special and he just starts freestyling about Percocets, pop another set, what's your rep set again? I can't remember the.
He's incredible.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. All right, Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
All right, I was gonna ask Cubs or White Sox, but here I'll put you on the spot. Who is your favorite Cub player of all time?
It's going to be a tie between Ryan Sandberg and obviously Sammy Sosa. He's like the ultimate Cub.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. Cub. There you go.
Yeah. Ryan Sandberg is dope, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I grew up watching WGN back in the 80s, so Ryan Sandberg was the epitome of what an infielder should look like, for me growing up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, 1 hour conversation with one person. Who is it, and what's the topic?
I would say I'd honestly have to choose Eminem. I feel like he is never out, so getting to pick his brain about music, about what inspires him, about how his writing methods and his technique that he uses and just kind of pick his brain about, everything music related and try to find some inspiration. I know I would find inspiration beyond that. So.
All right, cool. I like it. All right. What is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
I want to say, only because I saw it in theaters and I didn't want to go home afterwards because I lived in a basement studio apartment, but Paranormal Activity, the first one, was scary as shit. And then the Autopsy of Jane Doe is a tie for me because that movie scared the fuck out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Autopsy of Jane Doe is a great movie, though.
Yeah. The last scary movie that I really watched was The Ring, and it was because my now 26-year-old son, Kason, was sitting behind my recliner as I was watching this movie, and at the end, that girl comes back out of the TV. Mm-hmm. He saw that and started screaming and scared the shit out of me. So I stopped watching scary movies. He didn't watch scary movies, so we're not a scary movie family any longer.
I'm a scary movie person all day, every day. My wife and I, all my kids, both my kids, they love scary movies. I'll watch them all the time.
Yeah, my mother was, so I grew up watching all that scary shit. But
yeah, my mom made me watch a whole bunch of shit. Like I'm 36, and I'm not gonna ever lie about being scared of clowns. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm terrified of clowns, and it's because my mom made me watch it when I was like 4 years old, and ever since then, I mean, I've watched the newer ones, the remakes, and I love watching those because I'm older now. I don't care, but you put a 36, 37-year-old future me in a haunted house and a clown comes up to me, I don't care if I know you or not, if you're a boy, girl, I don't care. I'm holding your hand or I'm getting behind you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Clowns are scary.
Yeah, I grew up watching Salem's Lot, so my mom was a big Stephen King fan anyway. Yeah. So anything Stephen King put out, she was telling me the story of. So
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so you early bird or a night owl?
Both. More so an early bird. I like getting up early because I feel like I have most of my day. Yeah, but I don't go to bed till like after midnight, so I'm weird.
Yeah, I got a strange schedule. Sometimes I got ADHD, so sometimes I'll stay up late, and then other times I'll be up early.
Yeah.
All right, what is your favorite quote or bar? You don't have to rap it, but just either tell me your favorite quote or bar.
Recently, that I can think of off the top of my head right now is from the "Hear Me Though" song. I got a question: when is hip hop going to start hip hopping again? And I feel like that's a pretty cool statement to make because you know, a lot of people now, you know, it kind of steers away from the bars and more so on what's catchy and what'll be a hit versus the actual art of the lyricism behind it. And so, I don't know, kind of bringing the old school back to the new. And when is hip hop going to start hip hopping again? When's it going to get back to rap, you know? So,
yeah. I see what you did there. I like that bar, by the way. I like
yeah,
that.
Thank you. I was surprised that I wrote it. I was sitting there. It's Berserk right here, by the way, over here making a sandwich.
Hey,
But,
what's up, Berserk?
He says what's up.
Hey, can I get one? Somebody tell him I like apple jelly. So you know what I'm saying. He can hook a brother up. You know what I'm saying.
There you go. Apple jelly. No, I think we got grape. We're a grape jelly household.
I don't know if you've heard Berserk, Al, but he's got a cool voice. Reminds you of like somebody from Post-Apocalypse. I can't remember his name right now. Dude with Dr. Dre. I can't remember his name. Real deep voice though.
Yeah.
All right. If you had a time machine, would you fix your past mistakes, or would you go see your future?
I wouldn't want to do either one of those, to be honest. I don't want to fix any past mistakes because I feel like everything, like I said, happens for a reason. I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be when I need to be here, and everything that I've experienced in my life has made me the person I am today. So I'm happy with myself. I'm happy in my own skin, comfortable in my skin, and I'm happy in my life. So I wouldn't correct anything. I don't want to see the future because that's just going to make my present be all out of whack. And if I don't like where the future is, then I'm going to want to try and do stuff to correct it. It's going to drive me nuts. And if I do like it, then I'm going to feel like I can get lazy and like it's going to happen. So I'm cool where I'm at right here.
All right, man. I appreciate your answer. Up until now, you know, I've really liked your story. I've liked where you're coming from. I like where I like where your Wu-Tang comes from. You know what I'm saying? I like the history.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of hear where your raps are coming from. But this next answer right here may define if we're ever going to speak again, or if I'm going to ask you to do the opening for the Triple Threat Bet podcast.
Okay.
Right.
No pressure.
A lot of pressure here. Who is the greatest of all time? Prince or Michael Jackson?
Fuck. That's rough. Entertainer, Michael Jackson. Artist, Prince. I'm going to stick with that.
You have to pick one.
Yeah, you have to pick
I have
one.
to pick one. Then I'm going to go with Prince.
Okay, and why?
I mean, the man knew how to play like over 20 instruments, and he embodied everything that music is. He was a great performer. He made amazing music. Purple Rain is one of my all-time favorite songs. And I love who he is as an artist, and I feel like he embodies everything important about an artist. But as an entertainer, he was also a very good entertainer. Michael Jackson made hits, and he was one of the best entertainers of all time. But really, if that's all we're going off of, you know, then I got to stick with Prince.
All right, hey, that's a good answer. Hey, 1 second.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
All right, I will. I would literally tally one up for Prince. He is up now, 31-20.
But Michael Jackson's
as Scott would have said. So you're even going to vote for Prince, even though he wore them maskless chaps.
Mike Tyson wore assless chaps in his fight with Jake Paul. I still love Mike Tyson, so I don't give a shit. Wear what you want. You make good music. You're a great artist.
Did it first again.
Yeah, I can give a shit. I love Michael Jackson's "Rock My World," though. I want to make that very known. That's one of my favorite songs, like, of all time. I love that song.
Yeah.
But I got
either one of them. Hey man, so we like to always ask the last question is, you know, you may have been on I know you've been on a bunch of other podcasts, but I don't know if you've been on other you've been on David Willis's podcast. You've been on a bunch of different podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
All the podcasts you've been on, rate us 1 through 10, and then tell us what we can do better.
Man, honestly, if I could go higher than 10 for this, I would. You guys have been great, man. All the questions were awesome. I love the interaction between everybody. You guys had a plan going in, you know, for how you wanted the structure of the show to go. And you know, you're all fellow veterans, and so we have that connection immediately. I had an amazing time. Really, I don't have any notes for how to do things better. I think you guys are great. So I love the show. Thank you for having me.
Well, yeah, man. Well, we appreciate that very much. You're now officially off the Triple Threat Bet hot seat. We'll bring the other guys in real quick.
Cool.
All right.
So glad you said Prince, dude. I'm just
man.
man.
I feel like if I would have said Michael Jackson, it would have come back to bite me in the ass. But
no, you can. I mean,
they're both great.
You can't go wrong in that argument. You know, there's no way that no answer can be wrong.
I like how you answered the question though, with the caveat that depends on how you ask the question, you could give the same answer every time.
Yeah.
Because you're like, for this, it's this one. For this, it's that one. So depending on how you ask that question, you could get it. But just greatest of all time is like your opinion. So
yeah, it's all subjective, and that's why.
Yeah, I've asked the question a couple different ways, and I've got a couple different answers already. So I don't know how to answer it to be, you know, as vanilla, as bland.
It's hard. It's a hard question to ask.
As unleading as I can be, because, you know,
I want to
enter into maybe the James Brown into this equation, because Brown was
incredible.
Anyway, go ahead.
All you got to do is just go. You can only pick one, Prince or Michael Jackson. Which one is it?
Yeah.
That's it.
It's such a funny thing. Like kind of like Ty, when you asked me, like, you know, my top 5 MCs of all time, no specific order. The beauty about music and why I love it so much is because it's subjective, right? My top 5 is going to be different than, you know, billions of other people's top 5. So it's like, you like what you like, and, you know, that's kind of why the whole who's the greatest rapper of all time? Is it Eminem? Is it Lil Wayne? Is it Tupac? Is it Biggie? Is it this? Is it that? And it's like there's so many different things that you have to take into consideration when you try to talk about that kind of stuff. Because who's the greatest to me? Which in my eyes, it's Eminem, and I think he's the greatest to ever do it. I think that nobody can touch him as far as lyricism, as far as energy and punchlines, and like one of the craziest bars that I've ever heard come out of this man's mouth.
You ready to? We're gonna argue this.
Are we?
All right, are we ready to argue?
Damn.
I hope you don't say something we're about to argue about.
But no.
Go ahead, baby. Go ahead.
No. He said something in a song. So he came out with that Death of Slim Shady album, which was an incredible album, front to back, and he released like an extended cut of it, which had like I think 3 extra songs at the end of the album, like a few months later, like however long later. And one of the last lines that he said in one of the songs, one of the added songs, said, "So if you don't want to get wasted, these ain't the type of bars that you want to take shots at." And it's like, when you break that down lyrically, like he kills people when he goes against them, right? Like lyrically, like he'll murder you. So if you don't want to get wasted, if you don't want to get fucked up, then these ain't the type of bars that you want to take shots at. So it's like you go to a bar, you take shots, but bars take shots, like send diss tracks and all this. Like it's such a crazy like deciphering. So like I'll listen to people who I know are lyrically inclined, like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and Eminem and all these other like just incredible lyricists. I'll listen to their music and I will literally break down the bars in my head. Like I'll go listen to an album for like a month straight, and every day I'll find something new that I find out about this song or something that they said, and it'll blow my mind, or like a bar that they say will like literally just light bulb in my head, and I'll be like, holy fuck, that was genius. So
yeah, it's funny you said, I think I heard you say Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes.
So when I think I was, I was listening to everything from I think Creeping on a Come Up is when I started listening to them, but they had something called Bone Enterprise. I even went back and got that too from like Blockbuster Music back in the day. But I literally would listen to those things until the freaking CDs ran out back in the day when we had CDs.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what you mean by that breaking down. But when you say break down, like, do you break it down to understand it, or do you break it down to kind of like process it like DNA processing into your style? Like what are you doing when you break it down?
A little bit of both, honestly. Mostly just to break it down to understand it and catch bars, the double entendres, triple entendres, certain things that'll, mean one thing, but they say it another way and like have multiple meanings. And I'll get a lot of that after I listen to it a few times. And things like that. But also, there are certain artists that I really listen to that I resonate so much that I'll pull little bits from this artist, little bits from this artist, little bits from this artist, and I'll kind of put it into my style and kind of mold it into my own. So, there's a couple songs where, there was one song that I put out, the "Aw Yeah" track, which was literally me just in the studio, just having fun. And I heard the beat for it, and I was like, I kind of get like a Travis Scott sort of vibe from this. It was very like spacey, cool little, space bells, and like it just reminded me of like floating up in space, and that's kind of Travis Scott's whole vibe.
Yeah.
So I was like, So I started writing, and I'm like, I'm feeling like doing like a Travis Scott style song. So, and the whole song is like heavily auto-tuned, and I got like fun ad libs, but I try to maintain my own style with that too. And I talk about, stuff that is real and meaningful and things, to me, so, I think I break it down in terms of when I listen to all these artists to kind of like also digest a little bit of their style and kind of help mold it into mine so I can still be myself, but have that influence.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole day as I'm getting ready for the interview, I'm listening to you. So I'm listening to these different styles, and I'm like, I picked the thing up. It's like, is that still him? It's like, yeah, it's, it's a completely different style. So, I appreciate your ability to do that. Love your music. I'll be putting that one song I was talking about on my playlist for sure. I listen to it probably 20 times a day. So
nice.
Anyway,
thank you, man.
And so we loved hearing your story. Thanks for coming. And you got anybody you want to shout out before we let you get out of here?
Shout out to everybody listening to the music, man, and who appreciates the art and what we do as artists and what I do. Without any of the fans and supporters that support what I do, I wouldn't be who I am, right? No artist is anybody without their fans and their supporters showing love and really listening to the music and digesting it and having an appreciation for it and enjoying it. Obviously, that's the most important part, making music that people are going to enjoy. And then shout out to all the guys on From the Bottom. FTB is my LLC that I own. We're a collective of super talented artists. There's 5 of us, and we're going to be doing some big things, man. So shout out to Berserk, shout out to Be Good the Artist, shout out to Mercury, shout out to Damien Campa, and a big shout out to my wife and my kids for putting up with all my shit that I do with music and all the time that I take, sometimes going out of state, doing shows out of state, Vegas. And here's my little one right here. Going to Vegas and going to Salt Lake City and going to, Idaho and doing all these other shows out of state and being gone for, 3, 4, 5 days at a time, doing what I'm doing. And just shout out to my family for always supporting me and showing that love. So
that's what I'm talking about, man.
Well, everybody's invited to Houston when you get down here. So
yeah, man. Dude, that's a place that I want to go. I was just talking to my buddy about that the other day. I was like, man, I'd love to be able to go visit Houston or Dallas or something.
Let's do it.
Just something.
I'll text you ourselves after this, and then that we'll keep in touch. That way, if you come through Houston or Pensacola, you know who to hook up with.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
We got a couple people we can reach out if you want to do something, man, and hook you guys up. So
for sure, yeah. So because I'm no longer with a label anymore, due to it was just a contractual issue. The contracts were null and void after management kind of split. So, we just decided to take FTB, which again is my LLC, and we wanted to kind of run with it a while before the label. So we're deciding to revamp it and do it again and do it ourselves. So I don't have the backing of a record label anymore to do shows, but I still have a few connections. So any connections that I can make and that people can help me make to come do shows would be greatly appreciated. So if anybody listening, or if you have anybody that you can put me in touch with to try and get some shows booked where you guys are at, I would love to continue to reach out and make those connections so I can do some traveling and meet some new people and get some new fans.
Let's go.
Absolutely, man. I'll text you after this, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Ladies and gentlemen, Theory. That was cool, man.
I just need to work. I need to work harder, dude. I need to find some more talents, bro.
Bro, you can't work. You can't work any harder, bro. I don't think you sleep.
Hold on. This is a perfect segue. What are you talking about? For one, works harder than you. Okay. Let me talk about my buddy here. So I know that's not the one.
That's our buddy too. That's our buddy too.
This is the slide I want. So not only does Matt do this, but he's also got a daytime job. He's also a loving father. He's a loving husband. He works his ass off on this T-shirt thing, and this thing he's doing for charity is going to be amazing. So please go to sameflagsameoath.com and buy some of these shirts, because this right here is the hardest working dude. And I joked earlier about, that's a nice piece of paper behind you, but this dude he's got like 3 degrees. So good on you, Matt, for doing all that you do for yourself and then paying everything back like you do to the community, first responders and military veterans. And then Al, you're doing the same thing, man. I'm going to out you. You made a mistake and told me today. I know you're working hard too on your degree. So I'm very proud of you for doing that stuff, or your 3rd GED, whatever you want to.
Hell yeah, dude. Bro.
GED, bro.
Hey, Al, 4 GEDs equals a college degree, bro. So you just got to get 2 more and you're in.
Right.
You're in. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I just want to reiterate it, man. Like, go out and buy the shirts and let's help some people get some much needed help into their organizations, man. That's what it's all about. And that's why we do this, and there's more than, and just so you guys know, there's more than just podcast contest t-shirts on there. We have been doing co-branded shirts with nonprofits that give back to veterans for a long time, probably since we've been established. So go out there and check them out, see what's on the website, get you a couple of these, get some that help other organizations. They look good, they feel good. You have to have a really long beard to buy the green one. So if you don't, then you got to buy one of the other two.
First of all, I wear mine. I love to wear these shirts. They're very comfortable. I normally wear them with no underwear on at all.
I love it.
Just free balling, t-shirt it out.
And it still covers everything, y'all. And it still covers everything.
Everything. It don't take much.
Yeah, I wear them 7 days a week, whether I just wear them around the house in the evening or if I actually wear them out 90% of the time. But I love these shirts. They're just cool to wear because I know it's going to a good cause. I know they're a good family, and then I hope this shit blows up because you deserve it, man.
They're fun. They're real. If you wear them, you'll make good love in them. They're really good for that. They get you dates for sure.
I wanted to make sure we thank last week's guest, First Sergeant Lonnie Lochner. He mentioned the book Secure in the Green Zone that my man James Schumann wrote. So lunch meat was there. A lot of the incoming rockets that they took, I don't remember the number, but I don't want to even quote, but it was an ungodly number. I know it was in the thousands, but it may have been tens of thousands. I'm not for sure, but during the time that lunch meat was there, they took so much incoming in the green zone. So, and he was there with triple canopy at that time. So he's in this freaking book, y'all. So go get it. You know, it's Secure in the Green Zone by James Schumann.
Not to be funny, but to go back 2 slides.
Oh, my bad.
Go back to that book. Bro,
Yeah.
I didn't even know we talked about this many books in general. I'm just saying. I feel like I'm behind right now.
Well, the only one we didn't talk about was Nobody Is Coming to Save You. I just moved that one off because, I mean, we've not talked about books in about 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank goodness.
so
Hey,
yeah,
Al, you can get all these on audiobook, bro. You good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I ain't reading shit, but I'll listen to one. I'll listen to a book. I ain't gonna read nothing.
I ain't gonna read.
I
I ain't
love
gonna
it.
read shit.
Anyway,
The
where we
Bible.
at? My bad. I did not empty out all. Here we go. So we have a special Thursday show this week. We have Nicole Emilio, award-winning documentarian, director, producer, journalist, and Nate Brookshire says she's full of energy. I've talked to this woman on the phone. She is amazing to talk to because she's so knowledgeable about every single thing. She's there, an award-winning documentary. She knows how to direct. She's into producing, so she's always doing these journalistic things. And then she's pointing her passion towards veterans. So she's making documentaries about veterans. And so we're going to have her on. And then next week, that's when we're going to have Lieutenant Colonel retired Brian Heverly. This guy is a character. He was a commander of mine in 561st MP Company, and should be a fun show. He was Lonnie Lochner's commander during those times when we were deployed. And then I also deployed with Brian in another deployment when we were with a higher echelon of command. So all kinds of stories. Should be
Great.
fun.
An officer gate guard. That's what we want. Another fucking military gate guard on the show. Great.
I don't know what his
Thank you for your service, sir. Let me through
because
the gate.
you saw those videos
kidding,
I sent y'all, right, for his promos.
Yeah.
You can see that he's a character. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
start putting those out next week because he sent a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, y'all ready to get out of here?
Yeah, man. I think that was good, man. So again, thank you to Theory for coming on. We appreciate you telling your story. We're glad we got to learn more about you. We can't wait to see you down here in Houston. Our people will call your people. I mean, if we have people, we do, but I don't know how important they are. But everybody come back in next week, share the show with somebody, tell somebody about it, get somebody to come in here. If you or you know somebody that has a story to tell, you just got to reach out to us. Hit us up on our social medias. Check us out on all the platforms where you can listen to music. And don't forget, sameflagsameoath.com. Whiskey Stories t-shirt is the one to buy. All the other ones suck. Go get them. And we love you guys.
What's up, Big Al?
Yeah, mine's quick, man. Once again, like always, check on your buddies. If you haven't talked to a battle buddy in a while, you haven't talked to a friend in a while, reach out, make sure they're doing okay. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're thinking about them. That's all it takes. So just make sure this week you check on somebody. I don't care who it is. Check on one of your battle buddies. And like always, don't sweat the petty stuff. Like I always say, pet that sweaty stuff. I love y'all. See y'all next week, or see you Thursday.
All right. Hey, so that kind of that brings me to something I want to talk about. social media is there for a reason. So if you are on social media and you do use that as a tool, don't use it as something that's going to, limit your interaction with your family. Don't let it control your life. But if you do use social media as a tool, as I spend probably too much time on social media, but either way, if you're on social media, pay attention to your friends. If something happens with them on social media, call them. I had this thing happen the other day where I saw something happen on social media, and I called my brother, and we talked and we chopped it up for a little bit, and you just got to be there. So just like Scott Blake would say, you got to make sure that you wake up and get your ass up and you be there the next day. So I hate to take Scott's line, but it's very apropos. So I'm gonna shout you out, brother. I'm not gonna shout you out by name, but you know who you are. I love you. I'm thinking about you. I'm going to text you as soon as I get off the show, and we'll talk soon. Love you.